So thank you so much. Um, it's really a pleasure to have Irina Ruiz Figueroa with us. Um, she she has a big resume in film and communication, but I would say that she directs since 2012 ACAMPADOC, the International Documentary Film Festival of La Villa de los Santos, the only festival in Central America that links training, creation, and promotion of the documentary genre linked to heritage rescue. And of course, she has, as part of ACAMPADOC, she has produced more than 100 documentaries made by students, and that positions that uh, festival as the largest producer platform for documentary short films in Panama. So thank you so much for your work, and thank you so much for sharing it with us. And I'm going to start the Q&A right away. I'm sure everybody has a lot to ask and to say and to comment, but I would like to start with a reflection that I got out of this beautiful sample of documentaries that you are sharing with us today. Um, and they fit so perfectly into the subject matter. Basically talk about the gaze, and the gaze is, in as a Latin American documentary, it is something that it's perceived in this selection. So basically, this series of documentaries, I saw them as an unmediated gaze, where the subject of the documentary is in control of the narration, of the narrative. I don't know if that's possible. And if it is, I would like you to comment a little bit on the process of creating this type of documentary in which subjects are somehow in control, if that's the case.
Mm-hmm. Okay. First of all, thank you for the invitation, Teacher Galop, and all the team for the Latin American Studies and Spanish Department. ACAMPADOC is always trying to generate opportunities for young generations and also for the community of La Villa de los Santos. Mm-hmm. Now that I see all this perspective from Central American documentarists, I can perceive that probably we are lacking of this opportunity to show our histories, and also the characters are also having that necessity of showing what they do. You can see, as you say, the diversity of stories, and I think that it's not this is not casual. We are trying to teach as a film school, as we are, but also we are given the opportunity to preserve memories, all these memories, because I think the half of this film that you've seen today, the half of the characters have died already. And for future generations, I think it's very important to see what they have done, even though they were not so important or main characters in the town. They had the individual meaning or importance for their families, for a culture, for everything that has to be related with heritage. As we mentioned, we are a film festival that are also interested in rescuing heritage, but not only the cultural, just the natural, the spiritual heritage, and everything that has been involved or mission since 2012 when we began is a decade of sharing these memories with everyone. Now there are almost 100 short films like this that you've enjoyed tonight or this evening. And they are available. Most of them, as you saw, they are in Vimeo. Some of them have subtitles. Some of them are not ready, the subtitles, but I hope that everyone could be able to enjoy at least the meaning, or at least the essence of what every creator had prepared for tonight.
That's great. Yes. So let's open it to comments or questions. Yes, Valentin. Remember to unmute yourself if you can.
Thank you so much, Irina. This is fabulous. I mean, those images that you have there and you have given to us, I mean, in a span of 8 to 7 years of that festivals in 1914, to, I mean, 2014 to 2021, such a great variety. But what I see in there is this attachment to traditional values of the family, like to the earth, and there is also a contrast, although it is so subtle that you cannot perceive it. It seems to me that it has to do with the aesthetics in which those documentaries are developed. I remember seeing at least 2 containers floating through the waters. The first one is like a green bottle being carried out by the river, and the other is at the end like a big plastic bucket in there, like something of, and the rest is just the marvelous gift of nature, the colors. They are not bright colors. They are like natural, like a very impressive colors, because they do not have glitters. They look like coming out from the center of nature. Even the colors of the houses and the variety of those colors and the contrast with something that I just want to say that it is not a type of document where you are seeing that you are protesting because of the pollution, showing the pollution, the factories, but it seems to me that they must be in some place around. And I was trying to see what type is place is this, Villa de los Santos, the ethnic backgrounds. The guy in there was saying that we have something from European, Spaniards, African. What is the composition, I mean, of those communities in there? Is Villa de los Santos surrounded by other communities like this? And what is the relationship of these communities in there with the big urban centers?
Well, thank you for the question. In fact, there is like a curated selection, because these are just the films that have been made not by South American. It's just by or Central American students, and I think that we have kind of the same light according to the geographic situation of our countries, and there is aesthetic, as you said, that have been evident in all of these films, because I think those colors that you mentioned and those perspectives, they are not they are evidence of something that have been or could be named as a Central American School of Documentaries. Well, because sometimes we are looking, for example, some yes, some documentaries that have been involved too much in politics or too much in social struggles and things like that. And I think that this school that we are promoting from Central America, from La Villa de los Santos, is a tile of a cultural panorama of Africa, Caribbean, South America, and everything that can be shown in these documentaries is a variety of that the diverse cultures that can be shown in this place. This town, La Villa de los Santos, is a very small town, but you can find all these histories in these years. We are this year. This will be our 10th year, and we are still having histories. So that's I think the magic town for documentaries. I think. Another question or comment?
Yes, I think Kino, you have a question.
Yeah, thank you, Rina. Really, I enjoyed the festival, and I'm glad to be part of see the evolution of the festival. And so the selection you show us today shows clearly a Latin American documentary style, which is composed with a long take shots and very contemplative shots, and it's like a poetry in video. And so you are creating as you say, a portrait, a historic portrait of a practically unknown Panama, because when we think about Panama, we always think about Panama City. But so I just want to say this is amazing job, and if you can talk about the process of to separate from Panama City and go and take the festival to a very small town inside the country.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yes, this is the idea or the main idea to create a film school in the heart of Central America, in the heart of Panama, to inspire new filmmakers or young people, young talents. Even though you are not studying, for example, ethnography or filmmaking or anthropology, you can become a documentarist. In fact, we are now being considered as public archaeologists. if anyone in the public here can put that in a special place, please remember that if you are a filmmaker for documentaries, there is a new way of looking at the reality as a visual anthropologist or public archaeologist. So from ACAMPADOC, we have been inspiring many generations of Central American talents, as I said, and now we have the opportunity to check or to look back that how they did those short films that we enjoyed so much, and how we challenge those kids or those talents to go through festivals or to international markets with the regional stories that they have, for example, in Costa Rica, in Honduras, in Panama. Most of these students that participate in our residence, they have the time to be in a place that there are not too much technologies for 10 or 15 days. They are having teachers 24 hours a day with them, and tailoring, the project that they bring. And these projects are in development at the stage they come to ACAMPADOC, but after that we continue following, the process that they have. And after 2 or less, we receive good news from them, and they most of them participate at international market. They go to pitch their stories, and most of them are participating into good festivals, sharing the stories that they brought in paper. Because the idea to develop a short film in La Villa de los Santos is that they bring us a character from their story in development, and that character has to lead something specific or some sequence that they need, that they are stuck in their project, and they need to release that problem in La Villa de los Santos, in the community, and that way they show themselves that they are able to solve that problem with their big project that they have at Costa Rica, in Guatemala, in Nicaragua, Honduras, whatever. And that way, I think we are building good stories for our region and good cinema for everyone.
That's really evident, and it's amazing. And again, as Kino said, and Valentin also pointed out, it's so important because it's in a way remote from and removed from the idea of centrality that sometimes it's so it seems to be so common in Latin America in general, right? I mean, it's like Latin America is so diverse, and yet it seems to be represented mostly by the European roots, and with some, connection and inclusion of indigenous roots, but always from an ethnocentric point of view. And I think that visually they are beautiful, and those documentaries are precisely, they are sound and image, which is the ideal of a filmic work, right? Is when you, sometimes words are important also, but when you can merge image and sound in such a poetic way, the message is much richer. And I think that is one of the distinctive characteristics of this series of documentaries. So really something we are so lucky that we were able to experience that today. Any other questions? I'm sure that yes, Valentin, I'm sure.
I am curious, Irina. You have to spend a lot of money for, I mean, this is a very huge project. How do you manage to do that? And the other thing that I would like you to comment about, it's the land issue in those places, because I saw in one of the documentaries, the fellow was saying that I am very happy here. The other guy has 14 hectares, which is about 30 acres or something like that. So what is the issue of the land in those communities, and the finance for that project?
Okay, one thing that is very important to remark is that the last two documentaries that we saw, the one that was in the sea, the Arponeros, and the other one before, from the coffee, those were documentaries made during the pandemic last year. So those weren't filmed at La Villa de los Santos. They were in Panama, but very distant places. So this is the only year that we weren't filming in person in La Villa de los Santos. The first year that we developed a very amazing strategy, because ACAMPADOC is not only me, I'm just one little bit piece, but we are a team, a family team, that we are teaching the whole year in other places, universities in our countries. But when the time of ACAMPADOC comes, we are involved very, very tight each other as a good teachers to get to the goal that is to have those films made in extra time or record time of less than 15 days. So all of this work that you have seen today, they have been made in probably in 3 or 4 days of shooting, and like 1 day of editing, and that's it. No more than that. For the finance that you that you were asking. Since day one, we developed a project that could be sustainable in time, and every support that we get from the first year, the ADB, the BID. This is a cultural fund from Washington that were the first financial supporters that we had. They were the first ones that believe in this kind of project. They give us the first support, and then we started to find looking another financial ways with the Minister of Culture and then other partners. So all the year round we are working as a platform, because we are having like the film festival that is giving the year round process, because after they come to the school, they go back to the countries, the students, and often they come with a new material for the festival, and that's the way it works. We are sharing like a industry gear for a cinema that cannot be seen in other places. You cannot find this material on internet, on YouTube. You cannot find that in, probably not even in public televisions. So that's the way it is, like a rare cinema, but made in a very authentic way by new filmmakers that could be leading a new generation of storytellers in our region.
Great. Well, that's another amazing thing, how you supplement the filmmaking as an activity, as an art, but also the pedagogic or the teaching aspect of it. Are these two activities communicate with each other, or feedback, produce a feedback from each other, or is it one more important than the other in your view, or at least for ACAMPADOC?
You mean if the teaching and the
yes, sorry, yeah,
if the teaching with the art?
Yes, I mean, like sometimes filmmakers, they do their thing, and those students who follow them learn from the master. But in your case, I think that you have a whole pedagogical project about what it means to be a filmmaker and to produce films, from techniques probably to subject matters, etc., as opposed to, okay, this is what I do, follow me, start like lifting those cables from the floor and set up the lights and you learn.
Yes. Yes, sometimes we love to see those kids that were probably in a university like 4 or 3 years studying communications or studying cinema, and they have never touched a camera, and they have never had a real mentor working with them no matter what hour is, and trying to, you know, to share everything for making this film a reality in a very short time. And this is what moved us as teachers. This is what are we passionate about. And that way, I think we are like mentors the whole year, because most of them are requesting everything, you know, from materials, from things that probably we mentioned in a master class, and the whole year. I think this is a work that has to involve, of course, pedagogic, as you say, but also passion for the art, and passion to see them growing. This is I think the most important, that we have passion to see the new generations becoming like a, you know, like a network for everyone can share and build a new way of telling stories.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I'm speaking of that, and I'm going to drop a name here because it might be important or not. It depends on how um, uh, how far back we go into the history of documentary film in Latin America. But some people consider Fernando Birri a name that has connections with, of course, his Argentina, where he was born, and then Cuba, where he established the Institute of Cinematography, and something that a project that he had done also in Argentina, and not in the center, which is Buenos Aires, but in
No,
Santa Fe.
in Santa Fe.
So he created this neorealistic type of combination of the Italian neorealism and a documentary way of looking at the subject. And he was a pioneer in that respect. And I see something that reminds me of Biri in your work. I wonder if, obviously, if you know him and how influential he was.
Of course, Maestro Birri was our dedicated mentor for many hours of sharing in San Antonio de los Baños. Of course, we think that most of those special perspectives were learned at the film school, but after that, even the teachers that come from Cuba or not, they say, okay, this is like a way of showing how the things must be done in a way of this neorealistic way, or the low budget films, and that thing hasn't to be a bad film. Well, if you speak of low budget, most of the filmmakers work with low budget, but this is the way that we want to transmit that it's possible, an authentic way of working with probably very small crew and with good ideas, with a good idea in your head, and probably a very small or cheap camera, you can make a great film. And if you think of Tire Die, this is something that can inspire not only us, all the generations in this planet. Even the last documentary of Fernando Birri can also to be a good example of that neorealistic cinema.
Yeah, Tire Die was his first documentary, and he captured. There was a train, the train had to slow down in a sort of peripheral area in Santa Fe, where it was a lot of depressed neighborhood and economically with a lot of issues. And these kids would run to the tracks and would just run parallel to the train. And I would ask, give me a dime, which is tire die, meaning throw me a 10 cents, and so the image of this higher middle class passenger looking down at these kids, I mean, it was two worlds that were parallel and yet never to connect. And it was so powerful, the images of those kids running, and that it became a classic. And then, of course, the inundados, which is people that were flooded by the river, and how, anyway, it's it's so powerful to have documentaries. It's a genre that some people not even consider in many cases because it's not fiction, and yet it's such a powerful genre that I appreciate all those filmmakers who devote their talent to document, and then, of course, in another encounter, which I hope we have more than this one, we can discuss issues within the genre, which would be interesting, as to what extent a documentary film is purely documenting, or is just another layer of a fictional idea of the filmmaker? That's another question that will enter into the politics of filmmaking, right?
No, look, there is always one thing that we say to the students the first day, and we can also go back to that special sentence, and we say, okay, let's make one special film all together, because we collaborate with all the teams. Let's make one thing that can be memorable, that it probably won't be a masterpiece, because this is an exercise, will have like a technical defects and everything, but let's make a film that can endure even 10 years 10 years after. So if in 10 years I can find probably an HD drive, and this HD drive has some movies, in 10 years, if I see these films, those films have to be amazing. And this is the way we try to transmit that spirit of our teachers.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Well, this was a wonderful afternoon. I don't know if there is another comment or question. Otherwise, oh yes, one more.
Yeah, Irina, you are a scientific and an artist, because you're an engineer. You study engineering, then you studied how to write a text through images and to be a filmmaker. How can you conciliate those two fields, which looks like to be so far apart?
No, they are not too far apart. When I came to the film school, I found many good fellas, engineers that were, probably my teachers from photography that were from Germany, my teachers from sound that were from France, and most of them were engineers, and that was amazing, because they are not separate. The science and art cannot be divorced. Probably we are very multi-intelligent or I don't know, but this is important to remark to the new generation. But it doesn't matter what career you're studying. Every time that you find a way to express yourself using art, this could be great for your brain, for you as a person, and also for your new generations. Because if you make documentaries, you're leading a gift for the next generations.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, again, thank you, and of course, Irina for participating, and Kino for initiating these conversations this semester. We are devoting a whole semester to the documentary gaze, so it's really something that we celebrate. And thank you all the participants for joining us today, and we'll be in touch. This program, it will be in our on our YouTube channel, and there will be a link there to ACAMPADOC and what you do. All right, thank you so much.